super hot summer, mango sorbet, Ninja Creami, let's go. Now before we go too far into this ice cream video, for the first time on this channel, I want to ask something of you, all of you watching. If you're an animal lover, this might hit home. Very, very good friends of ours have a dog called Maisie. She's only 2 years old. She has unfortunately got problems with her back legs, which means she really struggles to walk. At only 2 years old, you can understand that there's a lot of life left for her, but the operations she needs are going to cost 10,000 Canadian dollars. Now our friends are a single earning family. One of them is at school full time and the other one works for an airline. I'm asking you personally, if you can help out, please head over to their GoFundMe page and offer any support that you can. I've donated from the business. My wife has also donated individually. Even if it's $1, every dollar will help get Maisie the care she needs to have a better life. Thanks for listening to this pledge, and let's get on with the ice cream. So our neighbors gave us some mangoes the other day. They're really, really ripe and they're right at the edge of their lifespan. So we're gonna make a delicious mango sorbet. It's super simple. You can actually use this recipe in any ice cream machine that you have. So let's get on with it. So sorbet, balancing sorbet is actually surprisingly simple because it's much higher water. There's no cream. There's a lot of sugar in sorbet, but that sugar is needed to stop it turning into a block of ice. For those that have followed along on the channel, I like to help with the science of ice cream making so you understand why we use the ingredients that we do and what they do in your recipes. So sugar affects the freezing point of any ice cream, gelato, sherbet, sorbet, anything like that. The sugar will affect the freezing point, and that stops and slows down the progression of ice crystal formation as it freezes. So it will keep doing that until you add so much sugar that it won't freeze at all. Salt does the same thing, and that is why you can go to some of the coldest places on earth and still see liquid water flowing at, -10. It's so highly salinated that it just can't freeze at that temperature. If you've ever put an ice cream mix in your machine and it just doesn't freeze, then you've got too much sugar and or other things that change the freezing point. Anyway, less chitter chatter. Let's prepare our mangoes. It's super, super simple. We're gonna use a cold process stabilizer, agaon. So we don't even have to heat this up. We're gonna put it all in a blender and then get it in our Ninja Creami tubs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split this mix up. I'm going to put some in the creamy tub. I'm going to sneeze.
5 minutes later.
I'm going to put some in the creamy tub and some I will keep aside and I will put in my ice cream machine, my Musso. It's better. So it really is super, super simple to make sorbet. What people generally do with sorbet is overcomplicate it and try and do some really random kind of stuff, And that's fine if you understand how ice cream and whatever else works. So let's get right. These are super soft, blimey. Right, old school. We're looking here for 314 grams of mango flesh. Those mangoes were like the sloppiest mangoes I've ever worked with. So let's get those out of the way. And man, I need to tidy up before we go any further. That's better. I'm not all sticky sorbet now. Right, so we've got our 314 grams of mango in there. We're now going to add on top 420 grams of water. Cold water straight out the tap is fine. There, and straight onto that, we're going to add 210 grams of sugar. We're going to add 200 grams in here first. 5 points for anyone that can tell me why I'm keeping 10 grams back. Yes, it's because I need to mix the stabilizer in with that sugar. If you're new to the channel, any stabilizer needs, hold on. Any stabilizer needs to be mixed with a sugar or a powdered solid of some kind, so milk powder, you know, cocoa powder, anything like that. It's 3.5 grams of guar gum going in this remaining 10 grams of sugar. Because if you don't mix the stabilizer in with the sugar, it will clump up and then you'll not actually use a lot of it. It will just clump up and do nothing. So with the stabilizer mixed in with your sugar, just swirl it around, use a spoon, use a fork, use a mini whisk, whatever. And all those lumps of guar have now broken up and they are ultra fine, ready to go in here. One final ingredient to go in here, and that is corn syrup, glucose syrup, golden syrup. You could even use dextrose if you wanted to. It doesn't matter, we're just changing the freezing point here. This brings this, just this ingredient will change the serving temperature from -11 to -16. That means that 52 grams of this, by the way, that means that you don't have to sit there for 95 years waiting, here we go, waiting for your ice cream to soften up to eat it. You can just eat it. Anyway, stabilizer in, that's it. What we're gonna do now is put this on the right way. And we are going to blend this for about 30 seconds or something like that. So I'll do that and then I'll have a quick tidy up and we'll come back. Low speed is fine. That is it. No super complicated this, that and the other. Ultra smooth liquid. Like that. We have, how this works is the frictional heat in the blender aids the creation of a sugar syrup, the water and the sugar combined, then mixed with the stabilizer, in this case the guar gum. The guar gum stabilizes that water, makes it thicker and more viscous, combined with the mango, which has sugar and water in it as well. We get this ultra smooth liquid. So that is now going to go into the freezer like this. And before anyone says the purest mango sorbet is just mangoes, that is not sorbet. Anyway, I'm going to put the rest of this in a container. I'll sling that in the fridge and use that in another video probably. But I'll come back when that is completely frozen and we'll dish some up and show you what it's like. Got the other half of this churning here. That's nearly finished. So let's get the Ninja one in. It is plugged in. Sorbet. As this one's finished as well, let's dish them both up. Let's compare mango sorbets. This recipe has been designed to work in the Ninja Creami and in your traditional ice cream machine. So, creamy there. I need someone to put this ice cream in. It's sorbet, by the way. Okay. Let's get some dished up. In this bowl we have the Ninja, and in this bowl we have the churned version. So from the close-up you can see there's a slight difference in color. The Ninja one is a little bit lighter in color, the churned one is a little bit darker, and that is interesting. Super refreshing, great texture on that churned one. Now this one looks better. Well, so, Sorbet, the Ninja one wins out. Why does it win out? Well, it's obviously put the right amount of movement into the Sorbet. It sheared the ice crystals into a nice small size. It's done a better job at that than the Musso traditional ice cream machine. Both flavors are impeccable. Now, the color is indicative of the amount of shearing that happens, not necessarily air. A good sorbet recipe needs a little bit of air, but actually what you're doing is you're breaking the ice crystals up into a smaller size. You're not really interested in overrun per se. You will get some, especially in a churn machine. You won't get that in the creamy, but you obviously get a much stronger shear in the creamy, and that creates actually a smoother sorbet. So that's really interesting. Flavor wise, they're basically identical, but this one being a bit denser, it's super smooth. Super smooth. You would not be able to tell that is sorbet. 100%. You would not tell that's sorbet. That's basically mango ice cream. So, sorbet, the science behind sorbet is different to ice cream, different to gelato. It needs the higher sugar, but what you've got here is a really simple recipe for probably one of the best sorbets you're going to try. Don't just throw fruit in your Ninja Creami and hope it turns out well. It just won't. It won't turn out nice. This balanced sorbet recipe is exquisite. Try it. Will it work with other fruit? To a degree, yes, but this recipe is balanced just for mango. Every fruit has a different amount of sugar, different amount of water. You start playing with those, you adjust the recipe, and you'll take it out of that balanced bubble that we need it to be in. Every fruit is different. There is no one recipe fits all, unfortunately, for the world of ice cream, gelato, and sorbet. But delicious mango sorbet. The Ninja Creami wins out over the Musso churn machine, which is interesting. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.